Most people never lose because they're not talented enough. They lose because they stop trying one step before success appears. History is filled with those who gave everything, hit a wall, and quit right before the door opened. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the world's most successful people, and his conclusion was simple. Only a small fraction, maybe 2 in every 100, keep pushing after defeat. Those few become millionaires. Think about that, 98% quit. Why? Because they mistake temporary defeat for permanent failure. When people hit snag, they start saying, maybe it's not for me, or I've done enough. But the truth is, the universe often tests you right before reward. Hill discovered that every man or woman who ever reached the top endured what he called the breaking point, a moment of despair that divides the ordinary from the extraordinary. When Edison tried thousands of experiments before inventing the light bulb, he didn't think of failure, he thought of progress. Each no brought him closer to yes. In contrast, the quitter sees each no as confirmation to stop. It's not circumstances that defeat you, it's surrender. There is a subtle poison at work in the minds of quitters. They rationalize their retreat. They say things like, it was bad timing, or I didn't have enough support. But those who win say, I'll find a way. Persistence doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means refusing to let reality stop your growth. Every forward inch counts. Hill taught that every obstacle carries the seed of equal or greater benefit. The tragedy is that most people never push long enough to discover that seed. They stop digging 3 feet from gold. They see nothing but rock, when just beneath lies the fortune. Quitting is not born of weakness, but of habit. People practice quitting. They condition themselves to back down when pressure rises. The persistent ones do the opposite. They rewire their minds to see resistance as a challenge, not a threat. So here's the truth Hill revealed. Success rarely arrives in a dramatic explosion of luck. It unfolds quietly through persistence. When you're tired, when everyone doubts you, when progress seems invisible, that is the very moment life asks, are you serious? And your answer cannot be a whimper. It has to be relentless. If you study every self-made millionaire, a pattern emerges. They kept going after dozens of attempts, dozens of failures, dozens of people telling them to stop. The difference wasn't intelligence, money, or education. It was persistence beyond the quitting point. Remember this law. Persistence turns temporary defeat into permanent success. Quitting turns temporary pain into permanent regret. And in that choice, right there, lies the gap between the 98% who wish and the 2% who achieve. Chapter 1 closes with this challenge. Whenever you feel ready to give up, remind yourself that most people do just that. If you persist one more day, one more phone call, one more attempt, you've already put yourself in the ranks of the rare, the relentless, the future winners. Napoleon Hill outlined 4 key ingredients that generate unbreakable persistence: definite purpose, burning desire, self-reliance, and a definite plan. Think of them as the 4 cylinders in an engine that powers success. 1. Definite purpose. You can't persist toward a blurry goal. Hill observed that the world steps aside for the person who knows where he's going. This purpose acts like a compass. Without it, your willpower leaks away. When the goal is crystal clear, not, I'd like success someday, but I will build a business that changes lives, your mind aligns your entire energy toward it. When fatigue arrives, purpose becomes the fuel you burn to keep moving. 2. Burning desire. Desire is not a wish, it's an obsession. Hill discovered that every achiever possessed a fire inside them that refused to go out. You cannot casually drift into greatness. You must hunger for it. Imagine a man whose head was held underwater. His only thought would be getting air. That is the intensity your desire must reach if you want persistence to ignite. 3. Self-reliance. Waiting for permission kills persistence. Hill's studies revealed that those who succeed make decisions quickly and stand by them. They trust their own judgment and refuse to depend on approval. Self-reliance gives you inner stability, the confidence to keep moving even when the crowd doubts you. Without it, every criticism becomes a storm that blows you off course. 4. Definite plan. Action without structure is wasted effort. A plan gives focus to your persistence, turning energy into results. Hill warned that most people fail not because they lack effort, but because they lack direction. Your plan can change as you learn, but you must always have one. It transforms willpower into measurable progress. When these 4 elements combine, something extraordinary happens. Quitting becomes unnatural. Even when results are invisible, you continue because you trust the process. Motivation fades, but systems remain. Here's how to apply it daily. Start each morning by visualizing your definite purpose. Repeat your goal aloud with conviction. Take one specific action that moves you closer. Record your progress, however small. Over time, the repetition builds neural pathways that make persistence automatic. The I can't voice weakens, replaced by I will, until the new identity forms. You become the person who does not stop. Hill often said that persistence is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith, and faith is the force that transforms desire into reality. By acting persistently, you teach yourself to believe. And belief, once solidified, becomes unstoppable power. Your task at the end of this chapter: write your definite purpose, describe your burning desire in detail, and outline your first plan of attack. Start acting now, not tomorrow, because persistence grows through motion, not thought. Many intelligent people stay broke, not because they lack knowledge, but because they've never learned to persist. He'll prove that persistence beats brilliance when the path gets rough. We've seen it again and again. Edison was considered uneducated. Ford was mocked as an ignorant mechanic. Carnegie had no formal schooling, yet each became a titan. Their genius wasn't intellect, it was tireless perseverance. Hill taught that intellect can become a trap. The smart mind overanalyzes, fears mistakes, and hesitates. Meanwhile, the persistent person keeps moving, learning from blows that would paralyze others. Persistence transforms mistakes into teachers. Intelligence without persistence turns them into excuses. Every obstacle whispers two messages. To the quitter, it says stop. To the persistent, it says learn. The difference isn't in IQ, it's in endurance. He'll emphasize that willpower, directed consistently toward a definite purpose, becomes a creative genius of its own. The truth is, progress rarely feels smart. It feels exhausting, awkward, uncertain. The brightest among us crave clarity before acting, but clarity often arrives after 100 messy attempts. Persistence is the bridge between confusion and mastery. Think of Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team, humiliated, came back unstoppable. Or J.K. Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Their secret was not IQ, it was the refusal to get off the field. Hill said the persistent person harnesses the power of will as a sculptor uses a chisel. Each strike may seem small, but over time it shapes destiny itself. The so-called failure of today is simply material being molded into tomorrow's triumph. When fear of failure meets persistence, fear loses its grip. That's why most smart people never execute. They're too afraid to look foolish. But the persistent understand that survival through failure is the price of victory. They stop worrying about being right and focus on not quitting. So if you ever doubt yourself because others seem smarter, remember, persistence outlasts talent. The tortoise still wins the race. Genius may sketch the plan, but persistence finishes the masterpiece. Train your will as an athlete trains muscle, not through comfort, but through repeated resistance. Each time you keep going when you want to quit, your persistence muscle grows thicker, stronger, more unbreakable. In time, intelligence will serve persistence, not the other way around. Recognition without action is useless. Hill insisted that knowledge becomes power only when applied. So here is your challenge: 90 days to wire persistence into your identity. Step 1. Make the decision. Everything starts with a decision. Say aloud, I will never quit again. Write it down. Sign and date it like a contract with yourself. Hill observed that the act of decision instantly clears fear. It freezes retreat and orders your subconscious to act in harmony with your goal. Step 2. Establish a daily persistence ritual. Each morning, review your definite purpose. Read it as if it were already achieved. Spend 5 minutes visualizing its reality. Then perform one concrete action, no matter how small, that moves you forward. At day's end, record what you've done and how you overcame any resistance. The goal is not perfection but repetition. Step 3. Track the battle. Hill taught that persistence thrives through accountability. Keep a simple journal. Each day gets a check mark if you act despite difficulty. If you miss a day, write down why. Not to shame yourself, but to study your mind. See what triggers the impulse to quit and build counters. You're not counting failures, you're mapping patterns. Step 4. Neutralize negativity. Surround yourself with encouragement. Read stories of people who persisted through impossibility. Replace gossip, complaint, and self-pity with solution-focused language. Protect your mental environment because persistence grows only in positive soil. Step 5. Reward endurance, not results. After each week, reward yourself for consistency, not outcomes. Hill noted that success accumulates from effort compounded over time. Praise your staying power. Results will follow, but persistence must feel like its own victory. By day 30, your mind will still resist. By day 60, doubt starts to fade. By day 90, persistence becomes reflex. The inner voice shifts from can I to I must. Success may not appear instantly, but momentum is building beneath the surface. Hill compared faith and persistence to planting seeds. Growth happens underground long before we see shoots rising. At the end of these 90 days, renew your contract. Commit again. Because persistence isn't a temporary program, it's a lifelong decision. The world doesn't crown the most talented. It crowns the most persistent, those whose determination frightens failure itself. When others stop, you go on. When results stall, you keep swinging. That's how you cross the invisible line that separates dreamers from doers. Repeat the creed in your mind as you step forward into your next challenge. Quitters never win, and I am not a quitter.